James Daly.
Thank you very much, Mr Deputy Speaker. It's a pleasure to follow up my honourable friend, who I agree with every single word he's just said. I congratulate my honourable friend for Runnymede and Weybridge on bringing before the House the incredibly important issue of planning enforcement. If we do not have effective planning enforcement, we have no local democratic accountability within the planning system. It is such an important issue. I start my brief remarks by having to address, as the sole northern voice in this debate, Mr Deputy Speaker, the comments of my honourable friend from Bracknell, who is a great man, but appeared to suggest that all the houses being built on the greenbelt should be in the north of England, and we should preserve the greenbelt in the south of England. And I can say, and I'm sure the Minister, being his origins being from the same town as me in the north of England, would appreciate that the greenbelt in Bury and Huddersfield and other parts, I dare even say the Ribble Valley, Mr Deputy Speaker, is just as valuable, just as precious, just as important to local people as it is in the south east of England. Of course.
My good friend is absolutely right, and of course what I suggested, or tried to, was the fact we should be building on brownfield sites all across the country, and there is clearly a preponderance of brownfield sites further north. So we should be building on the best sites, not on the wrong sites.
I thought I'd misinterpreted my honourable friend, and I'm glad we're in complete agreement now in respect of these matters. Planning is there is a group called Bury Folk within my constituency. It has over 12,000 members. It is committed to ensuring that there is a local voice, a voice for local people to be heard in respect of how they view their area and what it should look like. It is the most basic thing that we should expect from our local councillors, that they should have, as part of the planning process, an idea, a vision as to what the local environment should look like. Mr Deputy Speaker, that is not the case in Bury. It is not the case in Greater Manchester. We have a regional strategic development plan called Places for Everyone, taken forward by the Mayor of Greater Manchester, supported by the Labour Council in Bury, and effectively what that has done has subcontracted development policy for the next 20 years to unknown developers. The whole plan essentially comes down to this. We will allow the concreting over of large sections of the greenbelt without any details about how that's going to happen. That is clearly unacceptable. There is no democratic accountability in respect of that. And how can my constituents have any confidence in a plan such as that, which has no vision, which is lazy, and that we have no idea of the bespoke details that are required and that are required to be enforced to make sure that we have that local voice within the planning process? I could not agree more with my honourable friend from Truro and Falmouth regarding the use of our town centres and how government should look at working with local authorities to incentivise developments on appropriate brownfield sites, as my honourable friend has said. But this comes down to the voice of all of our constituents, their confidence that their voice is going to be heard and that their local authority is going to act upon that voice. We have heard stories, and my right honourable friend is absolutely correct, regarding individual road developers, but there are issues with large developers. The financial might of large developers impacts the enforcement process in many applications. Essentially, local authorities are intimidating into not taking appropriate action to address egregious breaches from large-scale developers, and this is a hugely significant issue. So I agree with my honourable friend. I think his bill has brought forward some really important issues to the floor of the House. I think we need to ensure that we have really enforcement that works, that supports local people, but most of all supports a vision that protects the greenbelt, that protects the environment that is so important to us, and incentivises and makes sure that local authorities take decisions that are in the best interests of the people who pay their wages, who pay their council tax, to ensure that we have a fully functioning democratic planning system and not simply subcontract planning to large developers who don't care about individual areas and simply are eating up large sections of the greenbelt to build thousands of houses without any care for the people whose lives they are going to blight. We need effective enforcement. My friend is contributing to that debate. It's an important bill, and I thank him for that.